Shalom, giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahawashi, Bahashem Rakodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Shalom to you, Arkin, pushing this word around the globe with faith and truth. As always, I'd like to start by saying we are the real Hebrew Israelites. The real Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Indians, West Africans predominantly. But you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other nations because Israel has been scattered amongst all people throughout our various captivities. But if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible named Jacob, who was then later named Israel, then you too are an Israelite no matter what you may look like. Because the book of Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18 states that your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So I've got an article here from the Daily Telegraph here in the UK newspaper. This is a website. And this is just an example of how Esau's going to keep running with this same narrative and how things aren't going to return to normal for people. Although people were wishing and hoping for life to go back to the way it was in, say, 2016, 17, 18, 19, it ain't going back to that. So here the article says restrictions may be needed. Restrictions may need to be brought in next winter, Chris Ritty warns. So it's basically restrictions may need to be brought in next winter. Yeah, so they're not gonna ease up on this narrative. So let me just play this video briefly.
When everybody looks at the position, people understand overwhelmingly that we have no choice. When the Office of National Statistics is telling us that more than 2% of the population is now infected, that's over 1 million people in England. And when today we've reported another 60,000 new cases. And when the number of patients in hospitals in England is now 40% higher than at the first peak in April. I think, obviously, everybody, you all, want to be sure that we in government are now using every second of this lockdown to put that invisible shield around the elderly and the vulnerable in the form of vaccination, and so to begin to bring this crisis to an end.
And we're now into a situation where across the country as a whole, roughly 1 in 50 people have got the virus, higher in some parts of the country, lower in others. But 1 in 50 is really quite a very large number indeed. If people don't take the stay at home seriously, the risk at this point in time, in the middle of winter with this new variant, is extraordinarily high. What is going to happen over time is the risk level is gradually going to decrease. It's not going to be, it's really bad and then suddenly it stops. We're going to essentially have the risk walking down a path. Things will be able to be lifted by degrees, possibly at different rates in different parts of the country. We'll have to see. And the government has made very clear that ministers prioritise education, for example, as one of the things that would go early, but that's a ministerial decision very much. But things will be lifted stage by stage. And we'll then get over time to a point where people say this level of risk is one that society is prepared to tolerate and lift, right down to almost no restrictions at all. We might have to bring a few in the next winter, for example. That is possible because winter will benefit the virus.
We know that there will still be long weeks ahead in which we must persevere with these restrictions, but I want to give you, the British people, the maximum possible transparency about this vaccine rollout, with more detail on Thursday and daily updates from Monday, so that you can see day by day and jab by jab how much progress we are making. We think that with the vaccination program, we can do a huge amount to take out of the path of the virus those who are most vulnerable. That clearly offers opportunities to our country to do things differently, to approach the whole issue of non-pharmaceutical interventions very differently. So I'm full of the same optimism and fundamental hope about the position that I think Chris has adopted, and that I think that things really will be very different by the spring. And that is what I would certainly say to every parent in the land. Provided we don't learn anything new about the virus that we don't yet understand, so there's not some new mutation that we haven't currently bargained for, provided the vaccine rollout goes according to plan, provided the vaccine is as efficacious as we think it is, but above all, provided that everybody follows the guidance now, and everybody sticks to the measures that we have now, then we think that by the middle of February, when a very considerable portion of the most vulnerable groups will have been vaccinated, or so we hope and believe. That's the top 4 of the JCVI cohorts. Then there really is the prospect of beginning the relaxation of some of these measures. The BBC is coming forward with a big program of education for 3 hours a day. That will be something, but the government will be doing everything we can to help with remote learning as well.
Right. So you hear they're trying to set up the narrative to be where the way out of this situation is going to be on a jab by jab basis. For those who can discern what I'm saying. Juk by juk, jab by jab. Let's read this. It says, more than 1 million people in England are currently infected with COVID-19. Latest figures show, as the UK reported a record of 60,916 new cases today. Speaking on the first day of England's third national lockdown, Professor Chris Ritty, the country's chief medical officer, warned that some restrictions may have to be brought back into place next winter to control the virus. You see, this is like the boogeyman, isn't it? This is this situation where, you've got to be careful because the boogeyman's going to get you. It's just the virus is being used as a this COVID-19 is being used as a cloak for maliciousness for Esau to bring about his new world order. So let's keep going. England's top medic warned that people need to be aware that the virus will not disappear with spring. But if people stick to the rules really strongly, and at the same time the NHS is vaccinating as fast as it can, the lockdown could be enough. He said, if we did not do all the things all of us must do now, if people don't take the stay at home seriously, the risk at this point in time in the middle of winter with this new variant is extraordinarily high. Professor Whitty said that the risk level will gradually decrease over time, with measures being lifted by degrees, possibly at different rates in different parts of the country. We will have to see. We'll then get over time to a point where people will say that this level of risk is something that society is prepared to tolerate and lift right down to almost no restrictions at all, he added. We might have to bring in a few next winter, for example. That's possible because the winter will benefit the virus. Okay, whatever. So this is going on to some other stuff. I've made the point, to be honest. So, as I said, this is something that's going to be an ongoing thing. Just like how 9/11 was an ongoing thing, which led to the war on terror, which was an ongoing thing. One event leads to all of these scenarios that Esau's able to push further his agendas. So let's jump to Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down to you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that you have but a short time. So that's why they're working hard to push this agenda, because Esau and the elites of this society know that they have but a short time. So they're working as hard as possible to try and get as many people on board with this agenda as they possibly can. Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. These are the times that we're moving into. This is what was spoken aforetime. These are the prophecies that are now coming to pass in these days, because we're reaching the end of this man's age, and we're coming, and we're drawing closer to the coming of our Lord, the Messiah, Yahawashi, which is the one that the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He's coming. He's coming, man. And Esau's scared. Revelation 1 verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. When it speaks of the clouds there, it's talking about the chariots, which is what the world ignorantly calls UFOs. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. And all the kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, Amen. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come. Now we've got to hold fast to this truth, and not be swayed by the ways of this world. Revelation chapter 2 verse 9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Revelation chapter 2 verse 25. But that which ye have already hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with the rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even of I has received of my Father. Let's jump to Psalms 148. Psalms 149 is what I wanted. Praise ye Yahweh, sing unto the Lord Yahweh a new song, and of his praise in the congregation of the saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Esau didn't make us, Yahweh made us. Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. That's to say Yahweh in the name of Yahawashi. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and the harp. For Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people. So who are Yahweh's people? Let's quickly jump to Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 6. Precepts upon precept, line upon line. Here a little, there a little. Deuteronomy 7 verse 6. For thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people. So for those of you who remember, when we entered into Egypt, there's only 70 of us. Only 70 souls entered into Egypt, but a great multitude left Egypt in the Exodus. So it says, verse 8, but because Yahweh loved you, and because you would keep the oath which you had sworn unto your fathers, hath Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt. Jumping back to Psalms 149. Praise ye Yahweh, sing unto Yahweh a new song. What's the new song? This is the new song, this word, this prophecy, these holy scriptures that we're reciting. This is the new song. And no man can learn that song but the 144,000 which are redeemed from the face of the earth, roughly paraphrasing, and the great multitude. So to sing a new song and his praise in the congregation of the saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. For Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people, and he will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains, and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgments written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh. So that's going to be the reward we're going to get for keeping the commandments and not giving in to Esau and his system now. You know, we're not going to be executing the vengeance and the judgments yet. But Lord willing, when we receive our salvation and when we're in the kingdom, that's when we're going to be able to execute judgments upon the heathen and upon the wicked. We'll have two-edged swords in our hands to be able to execute those judgments. Because right now we can't do anything except wait until the Lord raises up to the prey. And until Yahawashi comes and deliver us. All we can do now is speak these words of prophecy and hold on to that which we have. So with that, giving all praise, honor and glory unto Yahawashi. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone of War, and shalom to you, our King, pushing this word with faith and in truth and in sincerity. Another day down, one day closer to the return of our Lord Yahawashi. Giving all praise and all glory unto Yahawashi. Shalom until the next lesson.